This interview is brought to you by Verizon. When the Navy and Marine Corps look to securely, effectively modernize their network and voice communications in the continental United States or outside the contiguous United States, Verizon's suite of services, solutions, and contract vehicles are there to help meet mission needs.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rush Fortune, coming to you from AFCEA West 2025 here in sunny San Diego. Joining me now is Vice Admiral Ann Rondeau, President of the Naval Postgraduate School. Welcome.
I thank you very much.
So the Naval Postgraduate School is a research university. It's doing cutting-edge research. How does that turn into real-world capabilities?
It's a great question because it's important. And what we do is that we have students, both military, U.S., and military international, as well as also civilians from other government agencies within the United States, and some industry students whose industry is deeply involved in DoD. So we have a really diverse group of mid-career experienced students. So I call them warrior scholars because they are really not just your 21-year-old student who's doing things. That's important to the question about application because they know they've come from someplace, they're going to someplace. So the unique piece with us that we have these operational consultants who are thinking about how you really make things work. That is the important question for the rest of the nation and DOD as to how you make that transition. So we're focused on learning the basics and then developing the skill sets and the mastery to do application. Now, what we're doing is that we're bringing in industry and they're coming in and saying, here's what we have. Does this work? Or we might say to them, this is what is needed. This is what the CNO, the commandant, has established is their priority. And it is that exquisite virtuous cycle of being able to do that kind of dialogue and conceptualization and creation with military, with operators, with industry, with other higher ed, and with an accountable client that you're accountable to a client, and that kind of process gets you into being able to say, "This is what we need, and this is what we can do, and the capability."
So that fosters that relationship to a certain extent.
Absolutely.
So to that end, you have these students, like you said, who are not necessarily the fresh green students at a lot of different universities. What kind of experience do they bring? What's that kind of symbiosis there?
So it's interesting. We do now. It's been a recent development of bringing in brand new ensigns and second lieutenants from the schools before they go out to the fleet and the force. So we do now have them, and they come in with a real mastery of STEM because they're chosen because they know that world and they have been very good at it. They are not only the provider of the new knowledge, but they are the receiver and the user of that. So now again, the accountability piece is huge for us, and it helps the industry to also have that accountability and that transparency so that they can be more efficient and responsive. We see them and how fast they're able to work and to create and to fail easily, which is something that we don't think about a lot in the military, but industry does. So how do you then think about risk? And it's different with when you bring all of those folks in. So it's just the dynamism of the thinking and the conversations and the sharing and the doing together collaboratively from the submarine world to aviation to anything with regard to the Marine Corps, amphibious or whatever. All those people are coming in with that kind of very specific knowledge, and then they're coming in and then they are collaborating, convening, and really doing some nice creating.
So you talked about sort of failing quickly and those kinds of things. I know certainly rapid
Yeah,
technological
yeah.
advancement. That's kind of at this conference and these kinds of conferences, and certainly the services are following that. So how are you making sure the curriculum follows those rapid technological advances, and make sure that people are ready for 21st century leadership?
Our faculty is kind of different. They are all brilliant. They everything from PhDs in all of the hard sciences and technology to those who were the practitioners who are teaching also. But they submit themselves to their client. So at least every 2 years, every course in a round robin kind of a relay gets reviewed by the client or the customer. Do they want it longer or shorter? Do they want it different? Do they want to have more cyber, less cyber? They want to have AI across the coursework. They then let us know what they want and need. Remember that they also are paying us to do that. So the customer, the client, has exquisite transparency and a voice. So what the faculty is doing is making sure that the pedigree of the discipline is maintained by the kinds of quality and all of those things that matter to the entire intellectual activity. But what the client is doing is saying, update this because of whatever factor. And so we are very sensitive to, and we have to be responsive to the client intent and their requirements.
I know there's the AI presentation this week, and you talked about a lot of this stuff. Can you sort of expand on that and sort of talk about what NPS is doing with AI and getting
Yeah.
its students in this hackathon and all those kinds of
Yeah.
things?
So we are working hard to make sure that AI is just not a user issue. I can use AI, but do I know AI and have I become enough of a master at it that I can apply it very effectively and also create innovative solutions using AI? AI is not the objective; it is the enabler that makes the objective better or not, depending upon how you want to do it. The next thing will be quantum, and then so now AI and quantum. My goodness, and people have become so much more technologically exposed to all of the new kinds of things. So that exposure is mostly, though, user exposure. The mastery exposure of those who can master it and work with it and make it an engineering enhancement or to get into space differently to use those things, quantum, AI, cyber, all those things, and also have an increasing ability to make it secure. So cyber security is one of those. The students are working at that very hard, and the faculty is staying current with those things. Remember, we are a culture that says they want relevance and application, right? And they want to have outcomes and results in a measurable, need, seen, known. You can feel it and see it and use it, and it's a very intense demand signal for that. So the focus is very much on the practical applications to solutions and to problems and to a challenge that then allows us to advance and move forward.
Yeah, I imagine just the tangibility of having these solutions is kind of the crux of so much of this.
Yeah, because you need to have that basic knowledge and theory ahead of time. I mean, you just do. Then to do what we ask these students to do, and that is not just learn the basics, which is important, critical, but your responsibility is to now become a master of something. If you're not a master, it's very hard to be an innovator because you need to know the world. Like any athlete, you don't walk into a football field or a baseball field as an amateur and hope to play pro sport, right? So the same thing with this. You can't be looking at oceanography and acoustics if you don't have an idea about physics. So you need to be a master to be the innovator, and that's important for us.
Can you talk about the role of innovation and how you do foster that at the Naval Postgraduate School?
So innovation is right now a the word of the day. Men and women have been innovating since humankind began. But what you do with the innovation, it is a mindset. We tend to be very comfortable with being in our silos, and the silos because that's where we enjoy ourselves. That's where we have our friends and everything else. Innovation says you must pull out from all of those the best of what they have and then integrate it, collaborate on it, team it, convene it, and try and test it. And do that so that you come up with something you didn't really know you had. So there's a lot of creativity in the innovation, but you can't get there if you've not had things going on beforehand. So you're learning your knowledge, you are developing a cohort of relationships that you all can share that knowledge and then move forward to think about to create something that's really different or to take what you have and make it better. So innovation is about that teaming, the integration, and coming together and creating something that none of you could have done by yourself. Now, can a person, an individual, be innovative? Absolutely. But in our business, no problem is solved by one by one discipline or one force. You got to be able to bring that all together. The integration piece is essential. It's very hard. It's hard in IT. It's hard in systems. It's hard to do. It's hard to do in organizations. So the integration piece is effective and efficient and fast enough to keep up is really important.
And so there is that sandbox nature of it, but it's obviously, like you said, you need to translate this into real world capabilities. How do you balance that? Because you could be doing some things that are in a sandbox, but also some things that stuff's really got to work.
So it is a tension because in the sandbox, you may be creating something that nobody knows will be a requirement for another 3 or 5 years. But that's part of the role of us is we are dealing with things that are relevant today, but also working what we see around the corner. That's what strategic research is kind of about. Is that you see something that is around the corner and you get a chance to forecast to your clients what it is that you see. So on the one hand, you are working on what your client sees. On the other hand, you have an obligation to bring to the client what he or she does not see. So the balance is effectiveness, tolerance, the environment. There's lots of ways to balance that. Your resources and how that will certainly balance it. So all those things and the role of leaders, is to understand the management of scarcity and the leveraging of and the optimization what you have towards then being able to be more effective. I mean, this is it's a daily balance almost. It's what's going on, what just went on. So we think that there was an immediate, almost reflexive response to deep seek. The responsible response is, "Let's really understand here what's going on." And so then that's what experts do, that's what we do, and then now from that point, let's come with other teammates and understand how we use that to our best advantage. So DeepSeek for me was almost a good news story because it will feed the competitive juices of American ingenuity, and we're good at that stuff. Sputnik was a big surprise, and look who ended up on the moon. So this is our Sputnik moment in a way with AI. Let's understand it. Let's get to it and create beyond that. And that's what we at NPS are proud to be able to say that we are a part of that. We're not the entire we are part of that ecosystem of American brilliance toward creating solutions to challenges, opportunities, and problems and making it work. We're good at that.
Well, yeah, that's a good note to end on because it is
Okay.
it is not a doom and gloom or anything like that. So I appreciate it. So thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Russ, very much. Thank you.